it's Dakota, and today I'm going to be going over something a little bit different than I normally go over my channel. Mainly because you kind of see this guy right here. That's Mewtwo. For anybody that has not played Pokemon at all, specifically like the first generation of Pokemon, this is probably one of the best and basically defined like what a top tier Pokemon looked like. When you played the first generation games, this was essentially like your prize for beating the game. It was finally getting to go to, at the time, Unknown Cave, renamed to Cerulean Cave, and being able to go through and fight a bunch of powerful Pokemon just to essentially get a crack at Mewtwo and try to catch it, and end up being literally head and shoulders one of the most powerful Pokemon in the game. So today with this video, I'm gonna be going over essentially like more specifically like first generation Mewtwo because that is literally like the definition of broken mon. Uh, but really just going over why this Pokemon was so great and why it's even pretty iconic, even to this day, as we're like 8 generations deep into Pokemon. Um, and real quick, like a little bit of background on myself as far as like Pokemon and stuff. I've been playing like the games and like that since essentially since like they came out. I didn't get to play. I played Generation One, True Generation One, and Two later in life, but I started in Gen Three with Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. Played through, beat those games a ton of times. Gen Four was like the one where I basically just devoted like all my time to playing. Didn't care for Gen Five, and then everything six, seven, eight. I've played a ton of, and then I've went back and played Generations One and Two a ton. So I would like to think that like maybe from a competitive standpoint, I really don't know what the heck I'm talking about because I just default to the people that are like way smarter. But as someone who's played the game casually and tried to build at least more competitive teams to like play with friends and stuff like that, just to not get completely destroyed or come up with some fun things. This is kind of like my take on Mewtwo. Probably one of my favorite Pokemon, and again, probably one of the most iconic Pokemon in the series, aside from like Pikachu or something like that. So let's check out some stats and stuff like that for Mewtwo. Fancy transitions because we are now high class. So essentially, Mewtwo in Generation 1 is a badass. Alright, so we'll come down here. These are like their base stat, his base stats, hers, whatever. Uh, Essentially, uh, with a high HP, high attack. If you look down here, Generation 1 had just a special stat, and it was not special attack or special defense. So the stat itself basically said how much damage that a move was going to do and how much damage you would take from like the same kind of move. So essentially, like special attack, special defense being one, they were 154. The only real weakness that Mewtwo had was like its defense, but even at 90 was still really bulky for the time, and nothing really hit this thing hard. So like Psychic in Generation 1 is very notoriously broken because there's no real counters to it. Like Bug is super effective against it. You see her Bug, but there was really no good Bug moves at all. So like you really couldn't like hurt Mewtwo, and the Pokemon that did have Bug moves basically just got destroyed by it before it could probably even get a move off just from how fast it is at 130 base speed. Ghost didn't really exist in Pokemon. That's kind of why they introduced Dark in the next generation, Generation 2, because Dark and Steel did not exist, and Fairy as well. Dark, Steel, and Fairy did not exist in Generation 1. So realistically, what you're looking at is like Bug, who had no real powerful or good moves to use on any good Pokemon. Ghost not really existing or having any damaging type moves. Fighting being, half resistant to it, and then also Psychic just destroying it, and Dark doesn't exist. So already Mewtwo has probably the best type in the game. Has a giant special stat of 154, which just completely and utterly destroys just about anything. Obviously, other than another Pokemon that has like a high special, which with its move set and everything and the moves that it can learn through gameplay and obviously TMs and stuff like that, it can easily just take out special walls because it can just come in and hit it not nearly as hard as with special attacks, but definitely still hits hard from an attack. It definitely nothing wants to take a hit from you too. Um, It's like some Pokedex info, some of the moves it can learn, and kind of why it was so good back then as well. Aside from it just having like the monster stats and things like that, it could learn the move Amnesia, where if I could find it, that would be super awesome. But of course, it just gives me Sword and Shield. So Amnesia, uh, now from Generation 2 onward, ups the special defense. So the reason why it was broken back then is because it just raised the special stat by 2 stages. Basically meaning that like you doubled your special stat, which obviously is really good when your Pokemon already has 154 base special attack. It already goes up over 300 after just one Amnesia, and when you're just playing through the game, any Pokemon that is able to learn Amnesia, like Snorlax and stuff like that, if you would see from my Pokemon Yellow Let's Play, which is like awesome, and you should totally check out my stream because I'm going to be doing more Generation 1 and going into Generation 2, hopefully soon. That Amnesia, even on a Pokemon like Snorlax, which doesn't really have like an amazing special attack stat, like compared to like the Mewtwo and Alakazam and stuff like that, if you get up, 2, 3 Amnesias and triple and quadruple your special stat, you can knock Pokemon out in one shot, even if you're under leveled. That's kind of how we were able to like cheese out a few of the gym leaders on our playthrough of Pokemon Yellow. Was just setting up with Snorlax and then sweeping with Surf, which obviously isn't the most ideal move and it isn't even close to the most ideal set, but it just shows you how powerful Amnesia is and how powerful just the special stat being for attack and defense is when you compare that up against other special Pokemon that have a high special stat. So Mewtwo getting to know probably the best move in the game, Psychic, which obviously is super powerful, very accurate. Getting to learn Amnesia, and then getting to pair it with a move like Recover, which recovers half of the user's HP. Which, if we go back up here, 160 base HP is a lot. So I mean, like Recover is going to recover 150, 200 HP very, very easily at level 100. So getting to know Recover, getting to know Psychic, the best move in the game. Amnesia, which is by far the best setup move in the game, and where there's really no other good setup moves other than Swords Dance. But the by the time you get enough Swords Dance up to like one shot Mewtwo's already killed you. So like it just doesn't matter. And then getting to pair that with moves like Ice Beam and like Solar Beam, or like whatever your choice of like beam move or whatever. Mainly Ice Beam because in Generation 1, if you freeze a Pokemon, you actually can't thaw it out a unless you use like a spray or like a full heal or something like that to get it out. But through normal means, it does not unfreeze, meaning that once you freeze a Pokemon in, let's say Pokemon Stadium Pokemon Stadium, or just in regular battling, and you're just not able to use items or whatever, or don't have an item to unthaw it, it doesn't unthaw. No matter how many times you hit it, if it gets hit with a fire move after so many turns in the sun, it doesn't matter. It will not unthaw. So traditionally, a lot of like Mewtwo's and stuff run Psychic, Amnesia, Recover, and Ice Beam to essentially check. I mean, essentially to just plow through everything because Ice and Psychic all hit a lot of like the relevant types and stuff like that. As far as like beating Mewtwo and why it was even harder to deal with in like this generation and stuff is because Chansey was like the best choice, and like from the articles I read and stuff, Chansey only has a good matchup against it because of its high special stat, high HP in that, and then the fact that Mewtwo like wants to run at least these 2 attacking moves, Recover and Amnesia, just so it can just plow through things. Even then, your best bet is to give Chansey Ice Beam and hope that it freezes Mewtwo so that it just can't do anything and it's essentially knocked out until you knock it out. That is like the strategy. Like there's people like that say to run Jinx and stuff like that because of favorable typing, high special, decent HP, the things that you want. But the thing is that it just kind of dies to everything else that like wants to be used in like the competitive realm of Pokemon. Plus, uh, most of the time, especially like me, like I carry like a fire type and stuff like that, and those are usually pretty good because you can get the super effective on Jinx, which makes it pretty easy to knock out after a few hits. And I can't take any more, so then it forces a switch out, and then you just bring back out Mewtwo and you set up Amnesias again. And then eventually, like if Jinx is at a low enough like HP, you can just kill it with an Ice Beam, or you can kill it with Psychic, and life's good. And then like the one check to this Pokemon is gone. But yeah, so summarizing Mewtwo in Pokemon, this guy is an asshole if you play Generation 1. Generation 2 onward, the special stat split definitely made him weaker, but at the same time, like it just didn't matter. Uh, there's a tier called Ubers in Pokemon where it's just like this is like the best of the best. Like these Pokemon like generally won't see like competitive play because how rules and certain rules and things like that. Sometimes Ubers are banned, sometimes they're not. Yada yada, whatever. This Pokemon has been in the Uber tier since its inception. Uh, it's just super powerful, and through the years, it's proven that it doesn't need just Recover Psychic, Ice Beam to be successful. It doesn't need setup moves to be successful. It's proven that it can be an all-around physical attacker, special attacker. It can be a wall if it really wants to, even though obviously it's not like the best stat-wise. But I guess if you really want to and you're a heathen, you can do that. So yeah, all in all, if you're a casual Pokemon player, or if you're someone that wants to be more competitive, like your friends and stuff like that, or thinking about getting into VGC and checking on the rules and stuff like that, Mewtwo is definitely a Pokemon not to sleep on because of all the different moves it can learn. Like even just like looking back at like its chart and everything like that of like all the moves it can learn through TMs and through learning all that fun stuff. Very powerful, very diverse. Could be physical, could be special, could be like defensive, could be more of a setup. Whatever, definitely whatever role you want him to play, he's definitely going to play the sweeper role or the more aggressive role a lot better than like a defensive role or like a support role. But realistically, like he's good enough to where you could probably do just about anything with it. And so that's gonna wrap up this video of like a new series, new kind of video that I want to do to kind of expand like the content on my channel. Uh, be on the lookout for like more videos like this. We're not gonna go over necessarily legendary Pokemon. It's just Mewtwo is like the first one that I came up with because, I mean, look at this guy. He's purple and he kicks ass. That's awesome. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like on the video. Feel free to comment if there's another specific Pokemon you want to see. Make sure to check out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/crawdaddy23, where I'm going to be playing currently Generation 1, finishing up the Pokedex, and then moving on to Stadium to get some of the other special Pokemon that are there. Round 2, go through the entire thing, really just 100% a knockout Gen 1, so I can put it to rest and I can get to Generation 2, which like the more research I do and the more I look into like the kind of Pokemon and things like that, a generation that I'm even more hyped for, and all the special things that you can see on stream and all that fun stuff. So uh, that's finally going to do it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.